Thursday, and this is Grow Your Live Tribe with myself and Tina. I can say hello, Tina. I'm not going to say good afternoon because it's not, is it?
Yes, hello, Stephen.
Okay. Now, the first thing I'm going to do, if I just want to make one share, and then we'll swap over. Yeah, we are live, which is good. So I'm just going to share it to my timeline. And actually, next week, I'm going to start using Lively. So everything that we're doing now will disappear. Now, will anybody find us before we've been talking for about?
They already are.
Oh, brilliant!
Yeah.
Okay. Well, in that case, Tina and I say welcome to the show, and thank you for joining us today. If you want to join us on camera, I'm going to copy the link into the post. So just give me a second to do that, and then we should be good. Facebook's going slow. It's thinking about it.
It has been really slow today.
It has. And hello. Hi, Tina. Sorry, I've said that. I'm done. Hello, Bridgetti. That's what I meant to say. I was reading the message.
Right.
And hello, Roy. Oh, it's going to be fun today. I've been a bit distracted today. There's I'll tell you why. There's an upgrade to ManyCam, which is a virtual camera and a way to go direct to Facebook and Twitter, one person on screen, and to share your screen or to share photos. And they've just upgraded their software to version 6. And in version 6, you can broadcast live to more than one place at a time, excluding, of course, Facebook, because that would be breaking the rules.
Right.
Okay, Bridgetti, if you want to hop on and talk about the issues you had today, then you're more than welcome to do so.
Yeah, I am. While trying to manage my clients' pages today, everything was loading so slowly this morning. It was making me insane. So it's just been very slow.
There are parts of Facebook which are exceedingly slow. I'm glad that you've mentioned that because I thought it was me. I keep refreshing the browser.
It's not that.
No. I mean,
no, it is totally Facebook. It's not the browser. It's not your internet speed. It's just certain areas of Facebook are very slow in loading. And I don't know if Bridgetti uses it or not, but I use the page manager, the business page manager for Facebook because I manage a lot of pages, and it takes forever to load. Then once it loads and you click on the page you want to manage, then you're waiting another 3 minutes for that page to go. And when you have 30 accounts to manage, that takes a long time.
So Facebook is slow today for all of us. So don't panic. Don't panic. Right. Okay. Now, as I say, this is Grow Your Live Tribe. What we said we'd do is to grow our own Twitter, Facebook, and YouTube accounts because we're not going on to Pinterest or Instagram or anywhere else. We focused most of the time.
We are.
We try to be. But I've just been talking that when you actually are focused and you're actually going down one track, things fall by the wayside. And we've just been talking about managing other people's social media accounts and then not having enough time to do your own. And I'm still waiting for Facebook to allow me to post a link. So I'm going to post it here. The link to join us is now in the Facebook comments. So now you have the link. Okay. And you should see the link to join now. Okay. The magic of Facebook. At least they haven't got through. Right. Okay. So, right. Okay. Where to begin? We went through the cards earlier, but I'm just going to display them. Let's go on record for this, shall we? Because we said that Grow Your Live Tribe, we were actually going to grow our own. So let's show on screen our Facebook page. Now, I'm going to put it full screen. So if you are watching full screen, just a minute. With you in a moment, Bridgetti. We'll come back to our Facebook page, and we'll take up with Bridgetti and find out what's been going on today. Hello.
Hello there.
Hello.
We have sound. We have
How are
vision.
you?
We're good. And yourself?
I'm all right, thank you. I had a broadcast this morning, and my guest didn't say anything while we were having the broadcast. And when we had a debriefing afterwards, she was saying, that at certain points she could only hear every second or third word I was saying. And of course, I'm none the wiser, unless someone tells you, you have absolutely no idea. And of course, I went to watch the playback and I thought, oh no. By then it's too late. You can't do anything about it. You've already lost that bit. I don't know if any, Tina, you're on a Mac, aren't you?
You just broke up, so I didn't hear what you asked.
Are you on Mac or Windows?
I'm on Mac.
So I went ahead.
I'm on Windows for this broadcast, but the problems I was having earlier with Facebook were on Mac.
Okay, because I've got a Mac as well, and I believe High Sierra. Well, I heard last night that High Sierra is available, and it was speeding up the operating system like considerably. So I thought, well, yay. And I went and downloaded High Sierra, and I'm enjoying that my computer is now faster. So I wasn't expecting any issues. And I mean, I do the usual suspects, refresh your browser, reboot before you start your broadcast, check your internet speed, yada, yada. And everything was fine. So there was nothing that could indicate to me that there may be an issue. And yet I had one. So, it is unfortunate that unless your guest, and I think next time I should tell my guest in advance, if you can't hear me, say so.
Absolutely. I think people are afraid that it's on their end. And so they don't want to say anything. So they think that it's fine. But, fortunately, we usually have someone out in the audience that'll say, you're having problems. But yeah, definitely let your guests know if they can't hear you, then probably other people are having the same issue.
Yeah, I think.
Yeah, I would imagine, because when I did the replay, I was hearing the same thing.
Yeah. I know that anytime that we've had a show and anyone, that's on the screen, if I'm having problems with them or if they're having problems with me with sound, then it's definitely going through on the broadcast.
Yeah. Oh, Miranda says she can hear me now.
Second time lucky.
But isn't that Murphy's Law, though? When you need it to work, it doesn't work. And when you're looking for the problem, you can't duplicate it.
In live broadcasting, it's Murphy's squared, I think. It is one of those things that you just can't track, because unless somebody tells you, it's virtually impossible. I mean, I've broadcast now, not on Facebook, but on YouTube without any sound. And you don't know, without any sound at all, not a single word, never mind missing words, there weren't any words. And it's only when you play the recording back that you find out what's going on. And, I mean, it's good that we look at it on the light side, but you do have broadcasts which are important. You want every broadcast to go smoothly. And you do everything that you to do that, and then something happens that you don't expect.
So part of our repertoire should be audience and guest education.
I was just going to say, I found, whether it's on a live broadcast or actually on my phone, if anyone ever says, "Can you hear me now?" you can always hear them when they say that. You can't hear anything else they say.
That's true. That's true. And that would be a good topic actually for one of the shows on the 16th of October when we celebrate BeLive.tv's birthday. So if it should be added, I think it should be added how you should deal with guests and live broadcasts and make sure you're actually kept in the loop as to what's going on would be a good topic. Speaking of which, there's some good ideas in there.
Yes, there are. And
I'm sure I'm looking forward to that. You know, just, I mean, the community is so huge now. You know, I mean, we could compile one massive think tank with all the input that we could get from everyone now.
That would be great, actually, to have a think tank. So there's lots of good ideas, and sometimes it's overlapping ideas. So you could maybe, rather than having two people going at the same thing, they end up co-hosting together. It's always good to have a co-host. And I found anyway, and if you have an issue yourself, then you always have a backup so the show can go on. It's just a good thing to have. But also just because when you get in that environment where you're sharing ideas, there's more ideas. I mean, you would never think of all the things that you think about when you're in that environment, when you're on your own.
That's true. That is true.
Sharing. What did they say? Sharing is caring. I mean, it sounds like a cliche, but it's true.
It is. It is. I mean, it's a team thing, isn't it? I mean, we all work together. We all help each other. And this talking about yesterday, the video, people are supportive of each other. 99.9% of the time.
Yeah, most of the time that's true.
Yeah. There's no great rivalries. There are.
No.
Well, there have to be some rivalries, otherwise you wouldn't have to. You've got competitors. Let's put it that way.
It's healthy. Healthy. I don't even want to call it competition. But I think, you know, I mean, I've seen great respect in the community, and every time you ask a question, there's always someone who can relate to it and who will give you an answer.
Yeah, absolutely. I think, you know, competition is not a bad thing. It's always good. In any marketplace, competition is good. It keeps you on your toes. It makes you better at what you do. And it's always better for the consumer, whether they're an audience or actual consumer that's purchasing something. So, you know, not that I necessarily see my colleagues here as competition, but we are all vying for eyes. And if we happen to have a show at the same time, then we want the person to watch us and not the other person. It's not personal.
Well, that brings us on to a problem, and that's the scheduling of your show and the time you schedule it. If you are in conflict, there's only one audience. We know that the audience moves from show to show. And once you've got your people who will watch everything that you do, I'm always grateful for people who do that, there is an audience which moves. And therefore, if you go up against one of the big shows, I mean, I would never, for example, have a show at 3 p.m. Eastern on a Monday, because, I mean, that would be utterly pointless. And there are similar shows as well where you would say, right, okay, all the BeLive audience is going to be over there and not, you know.
Yes,
well, I think
if you schedule it for right after that at 4 p.m. and be really nice to somebody, maybe they'll let people know that, hey, my show's ending. You should go check out Stephen.
Now, there's an idea. Bridgetti, you
I was just going to say that I don't think that it's as much an issue for you and I being in a different time zone to the US. So there's less competition because I think, you know, our audience would be mainly where we are. And so there's less time conflict. I mean, my biggest complaint is that a lot of the shows I want to watch would be in the middle of the night for me. That's my biggest complaint.
And I'm going to name names here because I want to applaud the show as well. Rachel and Ross are on at 8 p.m. Eastern, which is 1 a.m. for me and 2 a.m. for Bridgetti. So there is no way on a normal evening that we're going to catch that show, because you'd have to stay up late.
I mean,
Right,
I'm
okay.
pretty bummed that, you know, the Best of Be Live, Rachel and Ross's show is 3 a.m. in the morning for me.
Wow.
You know,
Yeah.
that's pretty tough.
Now, if you ever get nominated, you're gonna have to stay up late.
I've done it on occasion. I mean, I've even produced shows, which was not for me. It's something you can do consistently. It's not something you can do every single night. You know, you can do it as a once-off, but not as an ongoing thing.
I can't even stay up till 10 o'clock at night, so you can forget me being here at 3 a.m.
Well, tell you a story. When I was a lad, I used to play in the local darts team, and the Guinness Book of Records had a record for non-stop darts, 120 hours. And a team of 4 of us played darts non-stop for 5 days and raised money for charity. By the end of it, I vowed never again would I stop up to the early hours of the morning. So that was me done. So
I'm an early riser, so I'm up early in the morning, but I'm in the bed pretty early. I have Robert and I were doing Saturday Night Be Live, and we were doing it at 10 p.m. my time, which is like 8 his time, I think. He's in California. Yeah. And it just didn't work for me. I'm like, if you want me to be like somewhat alive during the show, otherwise it's going to be, Saturday Night Be Dead because I'm not there. You got to move the time. So I think we're coming back in October, but at 8 p.m. my time. I'm just not. I'm worthless, really, after like 8 o'clock.
I can totally empathize with that, because I would never do a show before 10 in the morning because I'm not awake. And I would never do a show after 8 o'clock for the same reasons as yourself. Because when you do a show, you want to give your best. Mm-hmm. And if you're not at your best, then it gets difficult. And especially if it's a regular show.
Right.
And you've got we've got a choice in the timings. And apart from try and get the largest audience and don't go up against the video stars, you can go live whenever you want.
Well, I've got a show on a Sunday with 5 other ladies, which is BST. 3 of the other ladies are in the US on Central and Eastern time, and then the other lady is in Australia. I mean, do you have any idea how difficult it is to?
It's virtually impossible.
Insane. I mean, the only way we could actually do that is that for the lady in Australia, Sarah, it is 10 p.m. her time. I mean, that was the absolute best we could do. And then it's 8:30 for the ladies in the US. I think for the one it's 8 and the other one 8:30. So it's really difficult with the time zones sometimes. But I mean, I could, for example, we were trying to shift it, and I said, there's no way I could do a show at 12 p.m. consistently. I mean, you're knackered by 12 o'clock. I could manage to produce a show, but to actually be on screen at that time and look as if you're alive or you have some energy is almost impossible.
I wouldn't even produce a show at midnight. I would fall asleep while we were producing.
Well, there's so much could go wrong if you weren't on the ball, if you weren't watching the comments and taking people on and off pictures and everything. And a comment for Roy, which I just want to read out. Hey, Stephen, Vincent Burkhart was on our show last night and shared that you're an awesome guest and spoke very highly of you. Well, thank you for sharing that. It was a brilliant show last night. I'm really where you are at the moment in the guest situation. With you can see yourself bottom right hand corner of the screen. I'm normally with the full picture, so it was a bit of a shock to the system to find that I couldn't see what was going on.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I had no idea. Well, you know this well, but I had no idea what was actually. Ah, right. And Vincent's joined us. Hello, Vincent. And that is the truth. Brilliant. I had no idea what was going on, and what was being shown on the screen. Yeah, because you've got the guide that goes in and out, but it wasn't until I woke this morning, and Vincent's watching there, so I can share this with him here. I watched the show, and I was amazed because the production values of that show, not forget the fact I was in it. Well, don't, but you know what I mean. The production values of that show are absolutely fantastic. It was storytelling. I was telling my story, but it wasn't just my voice and Vincent's voice. Before the show, a week before the show, I sent Vincent about 25 photographs, which are about what I do and where I live, and my hobby of walking 26 miles every so often. And he put together a running order for the show, which I didn't know of in advance. And the whole thing came together. And I watched the production this morning. I thought, well, that is brilliant. So kudos to Vincent for bringing us a new way of actually doing a show, because I'd not thought of that before, of a storytelling way of doing it. We've got the face-to-face interviews, but this was face-to-face plus the use of photographs to actually tell the story. And that's why in the Believers group, there's a copy of the video, and my thoughts about it are there, and I've just been able to express them. So I just want to say thank you, Vincent. I look forward to watching future shows. Vincent has a show over the weekend with a young musician, and he's got an interview or chat with David Burrows next week. So if you want to post links to those in the comments, Vincent, please do.
I love what he's doing, and I love storytelling in general. I think this is a great platform for it, and something that I had hoped to do, and probably I'm not going to get to. I'm just too busy. Somebody else feel free to take the idea and run with it. But something along the lines of what was done with Stephen and the production value there. I'd love to see our veteran stories told. And I say our veteran, I don't mean just the U.S. veterans or veterans all over the world. There's some amazing images, and even film, even if it's silent, you can't see the video, just having that to roll with it as they're telling their story. I would watch. I would love to see somebody do that. I just am not going to, I have too much going on already, so I'm not going to try to take that on and do it poorly. I'd rather see someone else take it on as a project of passion and do it well.
Well, I'm going to say this. I mean, it's obvious that the skills that Vincent had before he came to live video are now coming into play, because he has done a lot of recorded video in his own radio show and on television as well. So the expertise he brought into the live video, and we're actually seeing a professional come into our arena and show us one of the ways it can be done. And it was just fascinating to be on the other side of the camera and not know what was going on and watch the result and see a cohesive hour-long video. So brilliant. So you may well see certain shows where I'm trying to do that myself, but I don't think with the same panache, it has to be said.
Well, it takes practice.
I'm happy to drop out if someone else wants to come in.
Well, if any, the link is in the comments. If you want to pop in, then please do. But Bridgetti, you're more than welcome to stay. You know that. And I know mentions have been made on Facebook. Yeah, I mean that's the other thing that one of the topics on the Be Livers, which is part of Build Your Live Tribe as well, is having an audience. And I'm looking forward to that topic. I'm not going to suggest that I host anything to do with that. I'm going to watch somebody who, want to a better phrase, knows what they're doing. I would hopefully, if we could persuade Joel or Mari to do that, or somebody who already has built an audience from scratch, it would absolutely be fantastic.
Well, and we've watched, Joel and Mari came to us with large tribes of their own already. We've watched Molly grow a very large tribe very quickly. Molly Mahoney. So she might be someone that we can talk to about doing that. I know others have grown their tribes since they've started Be Live, and people who had large tribes, Stephen Atchison, for example, has applauded really the live platform for not necessarily helping him grow his tribe, because he has a massive tribe already, but helping him to really connect in a more organic and authentic way with his tribe.
Well, he uses live video on a daily basis. I think twice a day he goes live, which is even more than I do. And he does manage to get interaction on his shows and live viewer numbers, and it's the interaction that counts. That's what makes the show run, insofar as he does get an audience who want to engage with him on the topics that he chooses.
Well, I think topics matter. Topics matter a lot, and also the time. A lot. If your audience is at the office, it may not always be a good time, unless you're catching them on a lunch break or a tea break or something. And your better audience would obviously be in the evening when people are home. I'm just surprised that there aren't more people who live stream on the weekend, because I would imagine one would get a better audience on the weekend, but there seems to be this huge lull.
You really don't.
Nobody live streams on the weekend.
You don't get a better audience on the weekend, and I'm not sure you get a better audience in the evening. There's some stats out there that talk about when people are viewing Facebook, and that includes live, and it's when they're at work.
Exactly so. It's when people get to work, 9 o'clock, they have a cup of coffee, and then they switch the computer on, and at 10 o'clock, they're ready to watch a show. And they really
are consuming Facebook a lot while they're at work, which we all know they're not supposed to be, but they are, including the bosses.
And April's confirming that weekends and evenings are deserted.
That's interesting.
Mm-hmm.
It is, and I want to say hello to Carlos. The gang's all here. Carlos, hello.
Hi, everyone.
And just to go back to April's comment, when she said hello, our Twitter account, our Be Live in 5 Twitter account, which we'll come to later, has now got 670 people following, which is pretty darn good. And what we do now is we actually tweet out the Be Live in 5 team members. And coincidentally, the 400th tweet that went out today was this one. Tweet, Be Live Unpacked, live streaming help desk was our 400th tweet, and it's to celebrate and to give a nod to April and to Roy and NetFriending and their help desk, which runs at 8:30 Eastern. And I did catch the show on the replay, obviously not live, because it was sort of 1:30 in the morning. So we are supporting everybody who's a member of Be Live in 5. So watch out, you'll be retweeted. And as the number of Twitter followers of Be Live in 5 grows, more people will see your tweets. Advert over.
Yeah, because Stephen and I know Stephen does a few other things, and I do a few other things outside of the Be Live in 5 umbrella. I have a show that I do with Michelle O'Neill called Take It to the Mat, and it's on Sunday and at 7:05 Eastern, if you're interested. And then, of course, Robert and I are thinking of picking up and doing Saturday Night Be Live again sometime in October. So almost all of us who are part of the Be Live in 5 team have shows that are outside of the Be Live in 5 umbrella, even though we all are very active within Be Live in 5. Honestly, don't know how everybody finds time. I find myself scrambling and being a terrible host because I haven't prepared for the show. I'm just showing up.
We've prepared over whilst we've been learning how to do this live video thing, so we can come on camera, and as Bridgetti and I will do tomorrow, we'll just have a chat, and that seems to work well because basically if you've got a strict format for a show, then you're cutting out any interaction with the audience, I think. But
Yeah, you definitely have to be flexible, and you have to be comfortable kind of flying by the seat of your pants, which we obviously are. We do it all the time. We always come in, like Stephen and I, and I'm sure that it's true for you, Bridgetti. We always have kind of an outline. Like I know Stephen's got stuff in the agenda for us to talk about. I don't know if we've ever made it through a full agenda.
We don't. I mean,
it's like improv all the way.
It's fun though.
It is, because the thing about live is you can take any direction, and you just go with the flow. I mean, you've got to have a plan B, because if we like we did the other day, and for the first 15 minutes there were no viewers, then you've got to have, which is Facebook's doing, I'm saying it, you've got to have a plan B to go to, and just keep going until people do arrive.
Yeah, I think, my first foray, not foray, I don't know what I'm saying. Anyway, my first attempt at live video was scripted. I was working with a news agency, with our news agency, and I had a script to follow, and it was not a terrible script, but it was my first time on camera, and I'm trying to read a script that, by the way, had a list of about 25 names, half of which I couldn't pronounce. It was a disaster, and it was so bad that, I didn't think I'd ever go on camera again, but what I found is I'm much more comfortable if I don't have to read a script. Now, if I have something to go by, that's great. And certainly if I have a list of names, I'm going to probably need that in front of me if there's 25 of them to get through it. But to follow a script doesn't work for me.
It doesn't work for me either, because it becomes wooden in a certain sort of way, because you don't want to miss anything out of the script that you've written. You've written it, so you're in charge of it. But even so, you want to run according to the script. Okay. Right. Okay. And we'll take this because this is a shout out. Also want to shout out and give a huge kudos to Adair Palmer for involvement in the Be Live in 5 tribe. Woot woot. And so do we. Adair's show we talked about timing earlier, but Adair's show goes out at 6:30 for me. 6:30 in the morning, not 6:30 in the evening.
Yeah. I always have to watch her on replay as well.
Yeah.
And I haven't seen the show yet. I've got I don't know how many shows bookmarked, but I've got it bookmarked to watch. Something that she did, and I'm not sure if it was part of Be Live at 5 and Board and for things that she does outside of it, but she's taken on a challenge from see, now there goes the names. That's why you have to write down the names.
So okay, it'll come to you in a minute.
We'll, if anybody knows, feel free to write into the comments. Otherwise, I'll go look it up.
I've caught a show a few times. I'm still in bed that time. It's still fairly early, and that's only because I go to bed late. So, but if I'm awake, I would listen to a show, and she's doing a pretty good job. She's doing a really good job, actually. She's a great storyteller too.
Oh, she is. She is.
And she's taken on a challenge from Rihan Alawala. How do you say his name?
Alawala.
Alawala. Okay.
Yeah.
So he's put a challenge out for people to create a video to come up with and outline problems that can be solved collectively. So if people aren't familiar with Rihan, this is what he does. It's kind of his mission is to bring people, especially people from other backgrounds, together collectively to work together to solve problems, and to kind of bridge the gap between not necessarily locations, but I don't want to say ethnicities either, but we all have different lifestyles and we all live in different places, and we don't always understand what it's like to live somewhere else that's very different from where we are. And so his mission is kind of to bridge that and to help people connect on the level of we're just all human beings. It doesn't matter what color we are or where we come from.
Yeah, I think it's a great mission, because video helps with that, because there are I've said this before, I'm going to say it again, there's no ageism, there's no sexism, there's no racism, there's no otherism apart from, well, there isn't an otherism. And optimism is the only ism that exists in live broadcasting.
I think the biggest issue that we have with the video is just the language barrier sometimes.
Yeah. Well, yes. Yeah. I mean, we are fortunate that as far as we know, in our sphere, the language is English. And
yes,
that's
and I always say that, in the U.S. especially, it's less true where you are across the pond. In the U.S., I just feel like we're like the laziest people in the world because everybody else learns English and we can't learn anything. It's the only thing we speak.
I'm going to put my hand up here and say it's this exact way. There is a joke that goes around that if an Englishman is on holiday in Spain and is speaking to a Spanish person, he will shout, and the louder he shouts, the more the Spanish person is going to understand. And he's shouting in English. He doesn't know any Spanish. Doesn't want to know any Spanish. But we used to have
hilarious.
We used to have a situation in the UK where at school, because we still are Europeans, you had a choice. You learned French. You had no option but to learn French. You learned French from being 11 years old through to 6, and Latin as well. But that's another story. We're not going to Latin. But the option. Sorry.
Go ahead. I was going to say here, you don't even get the option to learn a second language in school until you're in high school, which is a terrible idea. Children learn languages better when they're young, but that's the way our system's set up.
Well, we've got 11 official languages here in South Africa. I mean, 11. It's crazy. And I speak understand the pleasantries of one of the other local languages. And I really wish that I had the opportunity at an early age to have learnt at least one or two of the other local languages, because it really does put you at a serious disadvantage when you're having to communicate with people, because people connect with you if you can speak in their mother tongue.
Exactly.
So I really regret not taking that opportunity when I was young, or not having the opportunity. My children, when they were in school, they had the opportunity to learn a third language, optional, but they had the opportunity nonetheless.
Yeah, well, I think.
Sorry.
No, you go ahead.
In Germany and France, their second language is English, and to Germany, you try and speaking German, which I always do, but they always know your English, so no worries on that. So, but the other thing is, English is better than mine, because they have been taught grammar, and they remember the rules. Their speech is perfect. So, just an observation of our European friends.
But in the South, we butcher the English language. So I can't even speak one language properly.
Right, and just to go back to a point from Vincent, we were talking about scripted shows against unscripted shows. Now, the show last night was scripted, and Vincent is saying, I think knowing what topics you most likely will cover is great. Then you can go off at tangents and bring it back to the center multiple times. Believe me, that happens on this show. we do. There was a script, but we're not going to see any of it. The unfortunate thing is, and Bridgetti and I have a wish, is that you can actually copy the agenda from one show to another, and then you wouldn't have to re-enter it, because I've got an agenda here, and it's got 15 items on it. We've touched 3 of them, and the other 12 will just disappear.
Yeah.
Well, I find that when you're doing public speaking, you do it best when you have an outline, just an overview of your topic, and not have everything written out, because then you're going to try and you're going to forget stuff anyway. So it's much better to work from an outline where you just have the gist of your topic in front of you, and then speak off the cuff. Who had a show the other day? I think it was Molly. She went live with a gentleman. I forget his name.
Les Brown.
Yeah.
Pardon? Les
Brown, was it?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Did you catch that?
Hmm?
My goodness.
I saw part of it, yes.
I was blown away. I mean, he's literally, they were going through, or they asked the audience, what is it? I think he was trying to help people put together a conversation or a presentation. And he asked someone, well, what is the kind of topic you'd like to cover? And I think someone kind of threw out the idea of, I think it was childcare or something like that. And wow, Les was absolutely phenomenal. I mean, the stuff he came up with at short notice was mind-blowing. He just ran with it, and he covered such a range of things. It totally blew me away. He's a phenomenal guy, by the way. Excellent speaker.
And some people have that gift where you can just throw things at them and they can come off the cuff with ideas. And I couldn't do that for every topic. There'd be no way. There's some things I just don't know anything about. But part of my problem is I don't have a shortage of ideas. I have a shortage of focus.
What? Oh dear. What can we do? Can we help?
Probably not. It's just my crazy brain works that way.
Right. And
someone actually did a show on that recently. If you have too many ideas and you can't focus on one, then you accomplish nothing. And that's certainly been an issue and a struggle for me. I've gotten better at it, even this year, really, much more than the years past. But unless you can be that person, like there's a company that needs you just to throw ideas all day long and then they run with it and you don't have to do anything else, it's really not productive.
I know. I mean, we had that, on a Sunday when we've got the 6 ladies together. It is difficult. You plan a subject, and we could talk about any topic under the sun at the drop of a hat. That really is not the problem. But it is for someone, and up to now it usually has been me, to kind of keep it on topic, because you can easily go on a tangent and speak about 100 different things and completely go off topic.
Mm-hmm. Well, and we only have 3. I know there's a wish for 4 on camera, but when you get beyond 4, and I know, Bridgetti, that you guys do more than 4, it is really like herding cats. I don't know how anything is ever cohesive and makes any sense. It's tough with just 3, so I can't imagine having 6, 10, 20. I don't think I would want to be involved in anything over 6. I would just have to pass.
I would say so too. I mean, 6 would be an absolute limit. 4 is, I think, the golden number.
Yeah,
it is, and we can but hope that something happens on October 16th. You never know.
Well, when you have something like we're thinking on October 16th, or you're having not a seminar, but you're bringing together a bunch of different speakers, but they're not all speaking at the same time, then that's fine. You can have 50 people that are going to be speaking over the course of 3 days, and that's great. But having, more than 6 people on the screen at one time, unless you're doing then I would say you need a very structured outline that you're going to follow and have kind of a roundtable discussion, because otherwise it's chaos.
You guys know what happened to me this morning as well? When you've got 2 people and you had picture in picture, mm-hmm. For example, I had my guest as the bigger picture and myself as a smaller picture. Now, when you bring on when you add a lower third, usually it will bump the smaller picture higher up on the screen, mm-hmm. so that it doesn't cover the person's face. And during my broadcast this morning, I kept doing this, like
kind of peeking over.
Because whenever I used the lower third, it wouldn't bump my picture up. So I kept, trying to sort of keep my head above the lower third.
The joys of life.
Well, if you're not watching like on another screen, you don't even know that's happening until you watch the replay, and then you're like, your face is covered up.
Oh my
Indeed.
goodness.
Right. Well, this has been Grow Your Life Tribe with Tina and Bridgetti and me, Stephen, and we're going to have a topic, or I don't know. Just to remind everybody, Facebook is slow today, and that's for everybody. So it's not you. I thought it was me, but I didn't break it. It's just generally going slow on certain areas of the site. So we just got to live with that. When's your next show, Bridgetti?
I have not got anything scheduled for tomorrow. My next one will be on Sunday. Because I've got some guests coming, so I decided that it's not going to because from my living room. So having guests around is not going to be the best thing to do for broadcasting.
My kids are actually going to be on fall break starting Monday. So I'll have to bribe them to stay in their room and be quiet when we do it. But, you know, the truth is with something like that, I mean, it's different if you have guests over that you need to be entertaining and not ignoring while you're doing a show. But with the kids, if they happen to come on camera or the cat happens to jump on my head, which has happened before, it's fine. You know, people expect it. Our audience knows that we are not in a production studio where everything is managed and contained.
In fact, I think people enjoy that, you know, because it's relatable.
You get a bigger audience when things go wrong. That's for sure. There seems to be a sixth sense, and everybody sort of descends on the show that's got a problem, and adds to it because that the more people viewing that, obviously the greater the pressure.
Well, you can't go wrong with kids and animals, no matter what's happening. So.
That's
if
true.
Your cat jumps on screen, everybody wants to know what the cat's name is. So you have another diversion, but it's all good.
Yeah.
Well, there you go. You know, if you want to grow your tribe, go and get an animal.
well, a cat or a dog can be a star of the show. Can be a mascot, indeed. But I've only got chickens, so I can't see the chickens ever coming on the live broadcast.
Why not?
Right, they're English. They wouldn't. Well, they don't speak English anyway. In fact, we've got an event this weekend. We're now down. We had 5 chickens. Unfortunately, we're now down to 2, and we're now going to buy 3 chickens on Sunday. And these are rescue chickens who have been rescued from where they shouldn't have been kept. And we bring those here, and then they've got to be kept apart from our resident 2 chickens for 2 days, and then the fun starts, because the phrase pecking order comes from keeping chickens, and there'll be a battle royal then to find out who is queen and who is princess in the tribe in the garden. So that, I mean, you can't, it's one of those
the
things.
Hierarchy.
That indeed, yeah, pecking order, the hierarchy. Yeah. You can't do anything.
Sounds like a live show to me.
Okay, I'll take the mobile phone out into the garden.
You have to live stream it.
That's a challenge accepted. I will.
Sunday pecking order. That's the name of your show. Let's see.
Yes, the great arrival of the chickens. So
the chicken battle royale.
Grow your tribe with chickens.
You could just call it what the cluck, right?
Oh no, the puns. I'm going to cut that bit out, and we'll just chicken jokes. You're winging it now. I mean, come on.
I have never heard of rescue chickens.
Right, okay.
We have we rescue animals here, but usually cats and dogs. I've never heard of rescue chickens.
Well, basically, if you think of, do we all eat eggs?
Mm-hmm.
Yep. Okay. Now, unfortunately, not all the hens that lay those eggs are free range. It'd be wonderful if they were, but they're actually kept caged, so that they produce their eggs every day, and we appreciate that. But once they come to the end of, or towards the end of their laying period, then the normal thing would be for them to disappear. Instead, they are rescued and come into somebody's flock. So they come here, and they will probably produce eggs for about a year, and then having done that, that's sort of a couple of hundred eggs during the year. Then they can retire in the garden, and that's what we do.
So it's like a chicken retirement home. That's
It
awesome.
is, yeah.
That's what it sounds like.
Welcome, Miles. We're talking chickens.
It's a retirement roost there.
Right. So with my new version of Minicam, which we mentioned at the top, I don't know if I mentioned it on the show, it's come out. I will be broadcasting from my phone live to Periscope, Instagram, wherever I can. It'll be a live chicken show on Sunday, just for 5 minutes, just to keep this going.
That's awesome. I love it.
Okay. And Tina, your next shows.
Sunday at 7:05 p.m. Take It to the Mat with Michelle O'Neill and myself, and then of course back with you on Tuesday.
Indeed. And I enjoy watching your show. I catch it on the replay. So.
Thank you.
And Bridgetti, tomorrow we have a show at 1 p.m. Eastern.
Yes, we'll see you tomorrow.
Yeah, and looking forward to that. Right.
Uh-oh.
Right now.
This is good to bring up.
It's a good issue to finish on. Well, an interesting topic to finish on. My Minicam stopped working on Mac after the High Sierra upgrade. Which version of Minicam have you got, Miles? 5 or 6 is the first question. I know nothing about Macs, so, and I know you have looked into it and you'll be on the way to getting it sorted, but it's one of those things, isn't it? When you run a Mac and Chrome upgrades, you've got to upgrade a lot of things.
Yeah. Yeah, it's always a fear when you do your iOS update, what's going to stop working. Fortunately for me, I don't broadcast from my Mac, so I don't ever have to worry about that issue. But there are lots of other programs and things that I use that, unfortunately, you don't know until you need it because you don't use everything every day. So you may not find out for 4 weeks that this hasn't been working because I didn't need it until now. But now I need it and it doesn't work.
That's programming. That's broadcasting. When you really need it to work, Bridgetti, and the audience won't tell you that it's going wrong. That's where we started. That's one of our first talking points. And all right, okay. Minicam, Miles is on version 6 and has put in a request and no response yet. Minicam, as we know, are pretty good on responses. So hopefully they will get that sorted out. I would think you're not the only one, Miles. And sure there are a lot of people running around trying to get it sorted at the moment. And that's the thing, when software changes and you're dependent on that software, it's I wouldn't like to be a programmer in that environment. Much better programming when I'm doing it. I'm the team. So when I'm doing the coding, when I'm doing the software, I'm the team, and if anything goes wrong, it's my fault. And if anything needs fixing, I'm always got to fix it.
I can imagine doing programming and trying, and particularly people who build mobile apps. There's so many variations with iOS, with Android, with depending on the type of phone that you're using. Sometimes depending on the service that you use, it's like whether or not it works. That must be maddening.
Yeah. I mean, you're supposed to get advance notice of changes, but suddenly, I mean, Facebook are good at getting notice out. If you check the developers group every day, you'll get notice, and you get access to the latest version of the API in advance of the changes, and that works. But there's always somebody going to get caught out, and I think one or two developers that we know have been caught out by changes to the Facebook API and only responded later when people have complained. My empathy is totally with them, because, as Tina said, trying to keep on top of things is a difficult thing to do. And just back to Miles for a moment. Good to know I'm not alone. And screen for another video programs warned to update their programs before upgrading, but I haven't heard anything from Minicam. Yeah, the software houses are in a mad scramble, I would think, and it will sort itself out. And I suggest that, you know.
Yeah. Some of the companies are really great, you know, with Honey and repurposing. When people, and I know the bigger you get as a company, this becomes more difficult for you to do, but whenever they're really transparent and open and saying, you know, we're still trying to figure this out, we know you're having issues, bear with us, that goes a long way with your community, as opposed to just crickets and you don't say anything, because then we don't know if you even know there's a problem. For all we know, you're on holiday and, you know, we'll hear from you in 2 months. It's nice to have that, just a simple, we're aware of the problem and we're working on it. And it really goes a long way with your tribe, which is what we're talking about.
This brings us back to Grow Your Life Tribe. We got there in the end. We started with that heading, we finished with that heading. Right, okay, as we go for the close, Bridgetti, would you like to give a message to our audience today, which will forever be on the recording? Well, you and I are back. Bridgetti, I don't know what, to everybody who's watching.
So I don't know if anyone else is here. I don't see anyone except myself.
Okay.
There, now I see you.
Right. If you are watching, can you see both Tina and I, please? It would be most helpful. And we're waiting for Bridgetti to come back. That was unexpected, with 3 minutes of the show to go. And Miles is still here, good. And
that was Facebook reminding us that they're in control.
That's we must have said something wrong to Facebook. Welcome back, Bridgetti. What happened on my side of the screen was that the browser did a quick refresh and put everybody down into the lobby and beyond. Bridgetti, do you have any before we formally close the show, or at least try to? Is there anything you'd like to say before we go, which we're forever on record?
Sorry, I couldn't hear that, Stephen.
Do you have any closing words for today's show?
Oh, from me in Cape Town, thanks very much, everyone, for joining. I wasn't expecting to join you guys on the show. I mean, I was literally looking at something. In fact, I was watching another show, and then I got the pop-up screen to show that that your show had started. And I said, okay, I can click that. So it was quite by chance.
Brilliant. And my final words is I'll see you at 1 p.m. Eastern tomorrow with Bridgetti, and at 12 p.m. Eastern on Tuesday with Tina. And Tina, your final words as we close the show.
Go to the BeLivers group and check out all of your colleagues and what they're doing in the shows that are listed for today.
Brilliant. So be social, build your tribe, and help other people build theirs. Take care, and we'll see you all again soon.
Bye.
That had to happen right at the last minute.